The C-130 fleet used by Turkey includes both older B-model aircraft from the 1980s and newer upgraded variants. Maintenance issues, especially related to fatigue in the airframes, have been raised by aviation experts for years. If the plane involved was one of the older models, metal stress or engine failure could have led to a rapid loss of control. However, the speed at which the aircraft descended, according to flight tracking data, suggests either a sudden explosion or total power loss, not a gradual mechanical malfunction. Weather and terrain. The Caucasus region is notorious for its unpredictable weather. Dense fog, strong crosswinds, and steep mountain ridges can make navigation treacherous, even for experienced pilots. On the morning of the crash, meteorological stations recorded low visibility and freezing conditions at altitude. Still, Turkish pilots are trained for such scenarios, and the Hercules is specifically designed to handle rugged environments. Could this have been an extreme case of weather-induced disorientation? What aviators call controlled flight into terrain? Possible, but again, something doesn't add up. The geopolitical factor and potential external interferences where things become more complex. The region where the plane crashed is not only geographically sensitive but politically charged. Turkey's growing military presence in the South Caucasus has been viewed with suspicion by both Russia and Iran. Since the 2020 Nagorno-Karabakh War, Ankara has expanded its defense cooperation with Azerbaijan and established logistics and training missions that occasionally cross Georgian territory. This creates a narrow corridor of overlapping air defense zones, Russian radar coverage from the north, Iranian systems from the south, and Azerbaijani-Turkish operations in between. Several observers noted that just days before the crash, Russian surveillance flights increased near the same area. While there's no evidence of direct interference, the coincidence raises uncomfortable questions. Could this tragedy have resulted from a radar or communication disruption? Or worst, a misidentification incident involving a foreign defense system? At this stage, both Ankara and Tbilisi have avoided speculation. But the language used by Turkish officials has been unusually cautious. President Erdogan described the event as a painful loss under unclear circumstances and called for a joint technical investigation. That's notable because Turkey rarely involves foreign governments in internal military inquiries unless there is suspicion of external factors. Meanwhile, the crash comes at a tense moment for Turkey's military posture. Domestically, Ankara is juggling multiple deployments from northern Iraq to Syria and Libya, while trying to modernize its air fleet after years of sanctions and procurement hurdles. Losing a C-130 and, more importantly, 20 trained personnel further strains logistics and morale. Geopolitically, this disaster lands at the crossroads of several power games. Georgia, still seeking NATO membership, relies heavily on Turkish cooperation for regional security. Azerbaijan, Turkey's closest ally, has immediately offered support and technical teams. Russia, for its part, issued condolences but used state media to remind audiences of the dangers of NATO operations near Russian borders. What makes this situation more delicate is that the crash zone is close to critical energy routes, pipelines that carry Caspian oil and gas toward Europe. Any military incident in this corridor triggers economic ripples. Within 24 hours, energy prices spiked slightly as markets reacted to uncertainty. Military experts also point to timing. This crash occurred just as Turkey was preparing for new defense talks with the US over F-16 upgrades. Any perception of vulnerability could influence those negotiations. Some analysts even suggest the event might accelerate Turkey's push to develop indigenous aircraft, like the Ka-N fighter and local transport planes. As investigations continue, what remains clear is that the tragedy will have consequences beyond aviation safety. It is a reminder that even routine military operations carry geopolitical weight when conducted in contested airspace. In the coming days, Ankara will likely release preliminary findings. But whether the cause is mechanical or something more sinister, the implications stretch far beyond the wreckage. The balance of power in the Caucasus between NATO allies, Russia, and regional actors will feel the impact. For now, all that remains certain is this: 20 lives were lost in service, a nation is mourning, and questions hang heavy over the mountains of Georgia. In this volatile corner of the world, even the skies are political.